Welcome back to some new PettyRevenge stories, where people share small victories over those who wronged them. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now, let's start with the first story, shall we? It's called Lock Thief. I forgot to pack my lock securing my gym locker. This was found by someone who was able to reset the combination as it was found open. The finder then proceeds to use the lock as if it were his. Unfortunately, they did not notice a label I had on the bottom of it, clearly identifying it as mine. He also has one of a few annual lockers, meaning the lock is always on the locker, unlike mine, which goes on whatever I find free on the day, making it easy to find and check. After a few days of use, it's revenge time. One evening, a few minutes from closing time, when the place was practically empty, I superglued the lock, all the reels of the combination, everywhere I could manage to empty a full tube of superglue. A couple of days later, I attended the gym, and there was a new shiny black lock that replaced my rose gold one. The next story is called Didn't Crit. Many years ago, I started working at this behavioral health facility. The setup consisted of a large room with desks for each case manager. We could hear everyone else's calls, etc. My first day, I walk in all young, precious and ready to learn the job. This lady calls her friend at another desk, right in front of me, and said, I give her 3 months tops. And then both of them cracked up laughing. I stayed there for 2 years, wanting to crit every single day. It was, hands down, the worst job I've ever had. But I waited for her to leave first. On her last day, I said, I guess I lasted longer than 3 months. She turned white and tried to act like she had no idea what I was referring to. I quit a week after she left. I'm sure she found out, because her mother worked there too. It still gives me satisfaction to this day, and that was more than 15 years ago. The third story is called Threw a Fit at Me. Back in the far off days of '02, I lived in a duplex. The people in the other half of the duplex complained to the landlord all the time, for nothing. As in, I was once woken up at 2 AM by my landlord calling, to say that the neighbors reported me having a crazy loud party, and keeping them awake. I was sleeping. I was alone. There were no lights on. There was nothing making noise. Well, I do snore. Basically, she complained about both petty and made up things constantly. On the property was a shed with a landlord-supplied electric lawnmower. I mowed my half one day and thought, what the heck, let's do the half too. However, the cord didn't reach to the whole yard from my outlet, so I plugged into their outlet for the last 10% of their side of the lawn. Next day, she threw a fit at me that I used her electricity. A long fit, a loud fit. I pretty much shook my head, threw my hands up, and walked away from it. I used pennies of your electricity to mow your lawn. I don't even expect gratitude. It's a small, unasked favor, but why bite my head off over it? Next day, she's got someone on her side, installing those clear boxes over her 2 outlets, with padlocks on them. Clearly a normal response. I take a gander when she's not home. Those locks are clearly the cheapest locks they could find at Walmart. I go to Walmart and buy 2 identical ones. They were like $6. One of my hobbies is lockpicking. I'm absolutely not a master. I'm probably not even good. But I sure as heck can open the cheapest padlocks ever made in seconds. I replaced the locks with my own. Looks exactly the same. Took a few weeks, but looking out my window one day to see her with an overgrown lawn and hearing her futilely slamming a hammer against the clear boxes for a half hour made all the frustration worthwhile. The next story is called Getting the Money. The house directly next door to me is a rental property, which I had some issues with earlier this year. The issues came from 2 massive spruce trees that were growing on the property line and were causing property damage to my property. In my area, it is a law that in the case of trees growing on the property line, the cost of removal must be split evenly between neighbors. And because the trees and roots were causing property damage, there was a significant case to be made for their removal. Removing the trees was not cheap, and involved bringing in cranes and multiple days of work. due to their size and proximity to structures. I approached the neighboring property owner about splitting the removal costs and was basically told, I have no money. His portion would have been about 4K. At that point, we decided it would be more expensive to hire an arbor attorney and drag this through the courts, and then try to collect that money, than it is to just pay for the entire job ourselves. Now, here's where the revenge comes in. The tenant that lives there passed away, and the landlord decided to sell the house. During the inspection process, they discovered some trees on their property that were hazardous and needed to be removed before the sale could go through. It was uninsurable unless the hazard was mitigated. In order to get to those trees, equipment would have to go through my property. The lots are small, and the way this lot is situated, you would either have to demolish his other neighbor's garage or use my property. The owner approached me, asking for permission, and my response was that I would only grant permission to use my property for 4K, the exact cost of what he owed me. He tried claiming that it would jeopardize the sale of his property, and I simply replied, I don't care, this is the cost to use my property, take it or leave it. The following week, he came with a check for 4K, and I granted written permission to use my property. The last story is called Band Mom Revenge. Yesterday afternoon, my youngest was playing in the middle school pep band for her first home football game. Having been a band kid myself, raising more than one band kid of my own, I know the etiquette of when the band is supposed to play. New in yesterday's game, there was a DJ at the stadium. He was playing over the band and some frankly inappropriate songs. The visiting team didn't bring their band, so there were plenty of opportunities for the disc jockey to play music to fill gaps. The bleachers where I was seated, almost exclusively band moms and dads. We were all more than a little peeved that we couldn't hear our kids, because this dude kept hitting play. Finally, just before halftime, I got a case of, screw this noise. I went to the DJ booth and asked, could you just not play over the band? I got some attitude about how the athletic director had hired him, and take it up with his boss. Okay, except that I took it a step above his boss. The principal and his boss, the superintendent of the county schools, were right there. I've known both forever. Hey Ted, hey John, how are you all? Incidentally, could we discuss the DJ playing over the band and the questionable choice of music? I asked the DJ to merely be considerate of the kids and their work. But if you invite me to take it upstairs, I'm gonna take it all the way upstairs. The next home game, according to John and Ted, will not include that guy. I will happily volunteer to bring my own equipment and play hype music for the next game, if that's needed, and don't play over the band. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.